Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the campaign wrap-up of the Faab Five campaign here on the Random Rhapsody Network. I'm Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and GM, and joining me around my virtual table tonight are Alyssa, Joe, Jeremy, Koines, and Kyle. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Yo.
Right on.
So enthusiastic.
Yes. Now, before we begin, we do have a few announcements to get through, starting with the first of our two sponsors for tonight's show, Hero Forge. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build your perfect miniature online using a fully 3D, in-depth character creator right in your web browser, which is where we built the tokens for this evening's game. You can build yours today at HeroForge.com. Our second sponsor for tonight's show is XSplit. XSplit is a high-quality virtual webcam background remover that works with your already existing webcam. Using this program, you can protect your privacy while you work or play remotely by blurring the background, removing it entirely, or even putting your favorite pictures as the background instead. You can download the app today at xsplit.com, and if you use the coupon code RANDOM with a capital R, you can get 10% off of your purchase. You can find our referral link in the show description. Last but not least, we have our two brand new campaigns going full swing. We have on alternating Mondays the Aethertech Wars, which is a Pathfinder 2e campaign, and Aether Shanties, which is a Saga's multiversal campaign. We got a lot of fun stuff in store for the 2024 season, so I hope you all hang out with us and enjoy it. You can keep up to date with our schedule and everything we're doing by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV, on Twitter as @random_rhapsody, and on Blue Sky as @Random Rhapsody. And that's going to do it for the announcements. So join us as we dive into the now shattered world of Loroupa and rejoin the Faab Five in the Dream Realm after their victory over the Nightmare Child, solidifying their place in history as the legendary heroes. And we're back. So when we last left off, the Faab Five had traveled into the distant past, became the very legendary heroes they had heard about throughout their adventure, and had organized the unified armies of Loroupa to assault the Dreaming Tree. Aided by a summoned titan known as Ambar Belthor, basically a freaking kaiju, the Faab Five managed to reach the tree's portal into the Dream Realm and defeat the Dreamer in its past guise as the Nightmare Child in order to free the Loroupan people from its horrible influence. And so, Faab Five. The defeat of the Dreamer simultaneously in the past and the future sent a shockwave through the dream realm, flattening out the mists of dreams and giving you all a very unique perspective upon reality. The past, the present, and the future is visible to you all through the lens of the dream. You've already seen what's happened in the past after Ambar Belthor destroyed the Dreaming Tree. You've seen how the population of Loroupa descended down into the Underdark, where they thrived for millennia, while the great beast ravaged the surface of the planet, You've also seen into what would be considered your present. How the regrowth of the Dreaming Tree in the present time shattered the very planet of Loroupa, fracturing it like an eggshell. And yet, the Dreaming Tree somehow managed to keep the planet together, influenced and guided by the debauchery circus. The roots of the tree reached out and cradled the very land masses themselves, pulling them together and keeping the planet whole. This act saved millions upon millions of lives, though the landscape of the planet is changed dramatically. But Loroupa still spins on. And all of you now inside the dreamscape, you're aware of this fact. You also are aware of the fact that the portal to the dream realm in the present has been opened, allowing you to return to your own time if you wish. The Dreaming Tree itself seems to be it is a living thing, but it seems to be semi-conscious, slightly sapient. And it wants you to return. It's allowing you to do so. And while time does seem to be paused in this moment, you know that you'll have to make a decision eventually. But before we get into all of that, as you all stand there in the plains of the dream realm, one final question comes to each of your minds. And that question is, now that your adventure is over and your home plane is saved, though changed quite dramatically, how do you envision the remainder of your days to be? Do you travel to the present? Do you perhaps go somewhere towards the future? These choices are open and before you now. And because we're a D&D game, of course we're going to roll to see who actually goes first. So let's go ahead and do some rollies real quick, everybody.
Wow. No 2.
All right. Well, if we're doing
And Veil got a 2 also, so there are 3 2s on the board right now.
Maybe we could reroll.
Yeah. Why don't you all with the 2s go ahead and re-roll?
Well.
Oh, I guess if we're doing it on Roll20, hold on.
16.
Not bad.
Shit, 16.
Well,
I'm pretty sure dexterity's higher than mine, so you can have it.
well, it looks like the person who rolled the highest is Liam with a 17.
Looks like.
So, Liam, the portal is open to you, and you have a choice to make. What is your future in store?
First things first, Liam's going to return to his, what's the word for it? Correct present? Chronological. He wants to jump back in right where he left off. Let's see. As he gets back, he wants to fulfill the first promise of returning the Rod of Lordly Might to Ohm. And he does that, and as he does, he kind of skeevily asks I know the world's ending and everything, but did you by any chance get the chance to talk to those monks over at the Blue Heron? Because they still want to kill me, last I heard. So, hoping he had time to put in a good word, but whether he did or not, Liam's going to turn himself into the Blue Heron, as he said. I got stuff to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether Liam has a future, or how Liam's future progresses, I guess depends on how the Blue Heron decides to deal with him.
Interesting question. So, of course, it does take you a little time to return to but is found pretty quickly. Once the battle ended, he headed back to the Conclave to start trying to figure out what the hell was going on. The shattering of the world left a lot of things in chaos, but when you finally get back to the Conclave and place the rod in Ohm's hands, the first thing he would do is attempt to trip you. I assume you have your character sheet out, so why don't you go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw for me?
Of course. Let's see. 27.
27.
I was ready.
As he grabs the rod from you, you just see this glint in your eye, and that leg comes sweeping out, trying to trip you, but you just immediately react, jump, do a flip, and land a few feet away from him. Ohm kind of sits there, looks at the rod for a little bit, looks at you. Can
I, in that moment, try to trip him?
I'll allow it. That's going to be an athletics check.
Athletics? Oh, acrobatics is so much better. Alright, athletics it is.
Where's Ohm's character sheet?
No, that's a 7.
Yeah, 7. I'm not going to bother rolling for that. Sure. You know what? I'm just going to roll a d20 because I can't find his character sheet. But as long as he doesn't roll a 1, no, he's fine.
A little playful.
Mm-hmm. He kind of chuckles at that. So, Liam, how did you enjoy being one of the legendary heroes?
Well, kind of was in a dark dimension most of the time. Don't remember seeing the whole thing, but it felt better than destroying a town, I'd say, yeah.
I imagine it did. It's good to see that you actually did survive. I had some doubts, but it's nice to see that you finally learned how to fall properly. The way to fall properly, Liam, is to not fall in the first place.
I think I finally understand.
He kind of chuckles at that a little bit. And for the next week or so, you're actually working with Ohm. The Blue Heron Monastery didn't have a whole lot of people left there. Most of them had traveled to Morag. And the chaos of the breaking has changed Morag and the Dwarven hegemony massively. Its borders is literally cut in half, and the two parts of the Great Mountain Range are on now two separate subcontinents. So there's a lot of turmoil going on there. By the time you arrive, nobody's at Bradfordshire at all. It takes some time to find out what's happening, but I imagine you probably spend a little time working with Ohm, trying to help the chaos that's going on in the world when you first arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And you do find out eventually that many of the townspeople who got to from Bradfordshire to Morag are safe, have survived, and have no real plans of returning to the town.
Okay.
What do you do with that knowledge?
Liam still feels like he has a debt to pay, and it just so happens that's going to have to take on a new form than he initially intended. He was going to try and help rebuild Bradfordshire, but he sees this new world as an opportunity to try and quell chaos or stop fights before they happen, because there's going to be a lot of fighting and territory and all that new stuff popping up. So he's going to get Eloise to translate the inscription to turn his little collapsible boat into a super large boat. And when he does that, he is going to start a booze cruise. And he'll spend probably the rest of his time traveling with Eloise, I would assume. But that kind of depends on how hers goes. And he reveals that Mia Sorolta this whole time meant my princess. Let's see. Favorite moments, bittersweet moments. I can't hear you, Matt.
We're doing that stuff later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course. Sorry.
No worries. Okay. Since we were talking about Eloise, and both Eloise and Veil rolled 16s, I'm going to say let's shift our attention over to Eloise.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna want to go back to the time that we're from.
Okay.
See, the world is exploded. And probably the very first thing that I'm gonna do as I'm following Liam to go back to Ohm is use one of my sending scrolls to talk to my dad.
Valid. Do you want to do a 25-word message to him?
Oh my god, I'm back! I was somewhere else. Are you okay? Are you alive? Where are you? And we became heroes.
Yeah, you stopped it, and we. The response you're gonna get. Hold on, it's been a while since I've done this voice. Well, hi there, Dragonfly. Been a while. I'm glad to hear you're still alive. It's been really weird out here. Almost fell off the planet. Ended up back, and then that's where it ends.
While Liam and Ohm are doing their, flirty trying to trip each other thing,
Mm-hmm.
Eloise is just gonna be sitting in the corner. She's gonna try and scry on her dad to see where he is.
So it doesn't take you too long to get the full details of what's going on with your father, Voken. Voken was in the Underdark, you remember. He had tracked down Grood, and they were camping the last time you looked at him. One second. Excuse me.
Wait, I think that's backwards. Hold on.
I don't know.
That way. Because I think video is backwards.
But basically, like I said, Voken was in the Underdark at the time when the planet shattered. And so a lot of the Underdark just kind of crumbled away when that happened. And that's where Voken and Grood were. It takes some time communicating. Vulcan is actually on a completely different continent right now, and is trying to make his way back home, but it's kind of weird. So, and I'll explain in a little bit. But he informs you that when the breaking of the world happened, he and Grood were traveling, trying to get up to the surface again, away from the hegemony, and literally just the ground underneath them split, and they both fell. Grood managed to grab onto Vulcan's arm and held onto a rocky outcropping, and there was enough time for Vulcan to begin to transform and climb his way up. But before he could do that, the gravitational forces of the breaking of the world grabbed onto Grood and he fell.
The last thing he did was save my dad?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man! Eloise is gonna build a fucking garden that's gonna dedicated to Uncle Grood.
I have a short story I'm working on about this subject. I'll publish it later.
Yeah, but along the way, to finding her dad, she's gonna, if she finds anyone who needs help that she can provide, she's going to help them. Ultimately, I think her goal, I know, her goal is, she wasn't out in the world for a very long time, but what she saw of it, there was some good, there was some very not good, and there was a lot that was confusing. So that being said, though, she doesn't want to go back to the complete and utter isolation that she grew up in with her dad. So I think she just kind of wants to find her own little community and settle down. And you know what? Actually, she wants to rebuild Feyweave Hollow. That's what she's gonna do.
Okay.
If that even still exists.
Feyweave Hollow does exist. There are some druids who were there during the time. It had not collapsed or anything like that during the breaking. It is technically a part of Coltrast now.
Okay.
So one of the things that happened in the breaking is that the country of Radagast was split by like a third, and the smaller third contains the actual capital of Radagast, Northamia, and that is on one hemisphere of the planet, and then the rest of it, combined with some of the what would be considered Eastern Morag, also collided with Coltrast, and so Coltrast is its own big O continent now. It's actually one of the larger land masses. But whether when you all arrive back in the present, there's a lot of confusion on who actually rules there. But the Baron there, a 14-year-old kid by the name of Edmund, actually runs Coltrast, and he over the next 10 years or so, he actually solidifies it into a nation of his own. So Feyweave Hollow is actually on the easternmost side of Coltrast. It's on an island not far off the coast, and it remained completely intact. The structure is sound. The tunnels underneath were not damaged in any way, so it's still thriving. And those handful of druids that had gone from a few different druid groves to start working there. Remember, you had the conclave send messages to get people to go there and start cleaning it out. They're still doing so.
Okay. And then gonna kind of look at Liam and be just like, so if we can get the giant bees back, we might have some good honey to start working on that mead.
Are you sure you can't ride these bees?
You know what? I really don't know. I never got a chance to see the bees before they were infected and, zombified, so
I think if they're big enough, we can ride them.
I'm sure I would love to see you try. Just let me ask them first, maybe?
Consent. Gotta get consent.
Yes. Gotta get consent.
Well, it's just surprising a bee. It might not end well for either of you, so just, maybe just ask first. But yeah, I think that's what she's gonna do. Oh, and make sure that Mitchell's okay. Help him get back to his sister or something.
Keep an eye on him while blood's in the area, is what you mean.
Well, that's an interesting question, actually. How long do you, how long does it take for you to actually go looking for Mitchell?
Well, oh shit, he's still in the past, isn't he? No, didn't he come into the...
I thought he had a plan to get into the thing.
He did tell you all that he had a plan that after he helped summon Ambar Belthor, he was going to try to plane shift into the Dream Realm and join you all. However, he never showed up.
Ooh.
I'm going to use my second sending scroll.
Well, my question is about how long does it take you to actually go looking? Because, you arrive, the world's in chaos, you have to check in with the conclave, and that sort of thing. And eventually you start doing your other stuff. So my question is, is it something you check on immediately, or are you Eloise and you forget about it for a few months?
I would have waited until the very last second to leave the Dream Realm, to see if he would show up, and then be shocked by the chaos of the world. Be more worried about my dad first, and then probably would have been would have remembered Mitchell.
So it takes you a little time, but not a lot of time. Trying to reach out to Mitchell in those first few months, you get nothing back. I'm sure you try more than once. You have contacts and friends in the Conclave. It's not hard for you to get things at this point in your life. And so you keep reaching out every so often, and nothing happens. I imagine at some point or another, it just becomes like a yearly tradition. You reach out, hoping Mitchell is still alive. You have no idea whether or not he's alive or dead, but it feels good to try.
Yeah.
And about 30 years later, you get a reply. Well, Eloise, it's been a long time that we've spoken, not just in Loroupan history either. It's been an interesting handful of years, but it's nice to hear from you again. You eventually meet up with him, and he has a lot of tales to tell. How attempting to plane shift at the same time Ambar Belthor attacked the Dream Tree didn't go so well for him, and he kind of got shot into a different dimension entirely. He has a lot of adventures that are yet to be told, but you will find out more on this channel as days go on, what happened to Mitchell. However, he does eventually return to Loroupa. Not nearly as old as you were expecting him to be, given the fact that it's been 30 years, but He's still a middle-aged man. He's somewhat older now. He's got some gray in what little hair he has, and in that very slick goatee. And when you do see him, he's a lot skinnier than the last time.
Am I older than him now?
You are probably around the same age as each other now.
Because 30 years later, I'd be like, what, 50-something?
And he's just, he's, at this point, he's like in his mid to late 60s, so he's still a little older than you, but not by much.
The misadventures of the marvelous Mitchell.
The magnificent Mitchell, thank you very
Magnificent.
much. And yeah, there are still untold stories of Mitchell that we will discover on this channel in the future, at some point. You never know.
Eventually. Who knows?
But he has fantastical tales to tell you, Eloise. They kind of get ridiculous at times, and you're not quite sure how much of them you believe. But apparently he rode the waves of the Aether and traveled to some very unique places. You have any other questions?
Hello?
Eloise?
Am I still here?
Yes,
Hello?
I can see you. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, you kind of just went dark and your camera turned off.
Oh, okay. Well, you're all now popping back up for me, so we'll see.
Did you catch the last bit about Mitchell?
No. I just said when I first see him, I give him a big old hug and tell him how he scared me for 30 years.
He hugs you back. He has a lot of interesting stories to tell you. He definitely does. And you're not sure how much of them you actually believe because they're quite fantastical and tell of different dimensions and other planes of existence, of planets out there in the cosmos, along the waves of Aether. A bunch of wizardy crap that you just like kind of tune out, you know? But I imagine you're happy to see him, and he's happy to see you as well. He does go back and find his sister, who's quite a bit older than he is now. And eventually he starts setting up his shop once again.
He better have a branch of his shop in my Druid Grove.
Sure, why not? I imagine he at least has them in a couple big cities. So if you want one in the Druid Grove, he would do it just for you.
Yay. His home base.
Okay, let's turn our attention to Veil, who also rolled a 16.
Alright. So, the first thing Veil does before he goes through the portal, he takes the Tome of Clear Thought, and he finds a hiding... I'm assuming the portal, will bring me back to the same spot, just a different time?
Yeah, the portal will take you pretty much to what time you want to go to, from the present where the Dreaming Tree is reborn onward, if you want to.
Okay, so Veil's going to take the Tome of Clear Thought and find as good of a hiding place as he can, stuff it in there, and then go through the portal to our present time before we went back in time, the same time that Eloise and Liam went to.
Yeah.
And he goes and checks to see if the tome is still there. First thing he does.
So, did you did this in the past? You hid it in the past?
Yeah, so right before he walks through the portal, he finds a spot, hides it, and then goes through the portal into the future of the present day. And then he goes to find the tome. Does he find it?
That is an interesting question because as I've been describing, the planet is shattered. So we're going to roll a D100 to see whether or not it is in the exact spot you left it. Do you want to roll a D100?
Yeah, actually, hold on. Grab a couple percentiles real quick. And that is a 6.
Definitely not in the place you left it, or at least you're not quite sure, because of the simple fact that things are in different places now.
Okay.
But you're also smart enough to leave a marker for where you would have placed that. And with magic to locate objects and things like that, it would probably be a quest of its own, but you would eventually be able to find it again.
Okay. So, with that, I would assume its powers have regenerated because I believe it takes 100 years.
100 years. So yeah, it would be regenerated because it was buried there for like 15,000 years.
So it's got a lot of juice left in it.
Yeah.
So he's going to tuck that away, knowing that this will be his best way to, he could sell it for a good price for things he needs in the future or in the present. Girl's just he's gonna walk, and he's gonna think long and hard. It's been a year for him. He's used to studying in a library in the Underdark, and he's kind of, this year has been something that he's never imagined. He looks around, over his shoulders after he's walked for a while. He looks around, and he starts to realize he is alone, and he starts to shake a little bit, trembling. His knees gets really weak, and he just kind of collapses. He puts his head down, and he starts to cry, like really cry. Unfortunately, there's only one eye that can produce tears, but this is hard for him. He's never shown any emotions like this, and he is really, really upset. I would say PTSD would be a good way to describe how he's feeling. And he cries for a good while. He hears a voice in the back of his head. It's his father, and it's very disappointed. Just kind of harassing him with, "You're weak. This is not what I've raised. You're pathetic," and stuff like that. And he kind of squints his eyes really hard and pushes that out of his head, but also tries to regain his composure. Wipes a tear from his eye and stands up with a furrowed brow and a new hatred for himself. And that moment there, he vows never to show emotion like this again, and to kind of push everything deep inside and find a way to control emotions like this. He looks around again, makes sure nobody's watching him, and he gets up and cleans himself off with prestidigitation, and then continues to walk. He's going to find his dragon.
You do eventually reconnect with your dragon, and the order you gave it did fulfill. There's a moment when the city cries out in alarm at this massive army of the undead marching toward it, being led by a zombie dragon. The armies of the city, of course, cry out in alarm. People are rushing about. Heroes are called forward. And, of course, the Faab Five are around. How could they not be? But as this army of the undead approach, they stop, and simply the dragon flies forward, finding Veil. Veil, what do you do with this massive army?
I smile, a thick smile, and I climb up on the dragon's back, and I look at the Faab Five, or the four of the Faab Five, and I kind of give him a nod. You know, as a thanks for being there for me. There's been a lot of things he's gone through. He did vow, after he basically spit in the face of his god, because of realizing that he had friends. He does respect that, but on the other hand, he doesn't ever want to show. He vowed he'd never show emotions like he did alone in the I'd say the four he was.
Well, Eloise is gonna give him a great big hug before he can climb onto his dragon. Like a full-on body tackle kind of hug. You better come visit, okay?
Can I bring guests? And he gestures towards the massive army of undead.
They're gonna stay outside, but yes.
Well, maybe it'd be easier if we visit him instead of the other way.
Yeah, just travel. It's very expensive to move all these people.
They're not fast.
So what Vale plans on doing is finding some way to rid his body of emotion, like anger could be in there, and rage, but he doesn't want the sadness or the guilt and the tears. He never wants to do that again, so he wants to find a way where he could be a good leader for this army, the best leader for this army, no matter what it takes.
And what it takes is a lot. I imagine for most of you going about your day-to-day lives, the army of the undead that appeared outside of town and then left without a single shot being fired was a unique experience. The way... Well, I'm going to tell it like this, I think. As the years go by, whispers begin reaching the ears of the various places you're all living in. Whispers of an undead so powerful it commands others of its kind. Whispers of a one-eyed creature so massively powerful, so brilliantly intelligent, that it's almost seeming to build up a cult of its own. There's whispers of the Veiled One. But fortunately...
Eloise takes out her sending stone. Tap, tap, tap. Hey, Veil, how you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. I'm kidding, I'm sorry.
Who knows? But the Veiled One does exist out there among the ether. Fortunately, it's nothing but a rumor for at least our heroes.
Okay, so then I do tap, tap, tap. Hey, Veil, how you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while, buddy. Hope you're doing okay. We really miss you, and... Cuts off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing okay.
He's doing okay, guys!
Indeed. But there is only one true end goal for a necromancer, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Veiled One lives on, King of the Undead. But I'm sure that's fine. Nothing bad will ever come from that.
No, Veil has the power of friendship. He's
Yeah.
fine.
That right in the pocket.
Yeah.
By the power of friendship.
Power of friendship.
Every time. Oh my god, imagine Vale is like getting ready and he's giving like this big speech. Next thing he hears is Eloise's voice coming out of his pocket. Hey Vale, I think I might have done a whoopsie. I think there's some dead bodies though if you want some more.
He's trying to like turn it off like a cell phone ring in a library. He's trying to like stifle it. Fumble for it.
Love it. Okay. Next person who rolled is Blood from a Stone. Can't hear you, Joe. Nope.
It says he's muted on
Yeah, you're muted on Discord.
Oh, well, there we go. I don't mute that very often. You said, I guess, we could look in on other times? We don't actually have to go to that time, though?
Yes, you are able to look in on other times before you leave the dream realm if you want to.
He's probably off on his own, looking at the very... Well, probably shortly before he and his brother take off to go to Illimithia the first time. And he's seriously considering, because I guess if he goes to that time, would he take the place?
You would not be able to go to that time.
Oh, okay.
The time when the Dreaming Tree did not exist, you can't travel to. It's just not possible. However, any point that the Dreaming Tree did exist, you can travel to in this moment. However, once you leave the Dreaming Tree, that's it. It's closing up.
So
you could watch. You could watch.
You can't visit.
You can't visit.
You go to stay.
He'd have to stay in the past, pretty much.
No crossing the streams, bro.
Nope.
Because he was seriously considering. Because there's if he goes back there, he's like, none of this shit happens. None of the fucking crap he's dealt with the last 5 years happens.
No changing the past. Move on.
And so he's like, I mean, I guess if he's contemplating that, I guess he would even try, and it wouldn't let him. He's getting that 404 error code message with the website popping up or something like that. It's or 502, whichever one it's going to be. Yeah, it's just blue screening for him. So then he's decided, I guess, they have to come back at the tree, or do they just jump back anywhere in Loroupa while the tree exists?
You're reading into this so much more than I intended.
I'm just curious, because, does he have to go back to, that chamber they were in? Or...
No, you would actually be stepping out from the tree itself.
Okay. And then the elves they didn't join the assault in the tree, did they?
No, they did not.
Well, then, I mean, as he drops in, I mean, he would check to see, I guess, if Kozik and any members of the syndicate showed up, because he had told them and he had heard from him saying it's hey, they're on their way. Whether or not they made it there or not, he'd look for them.
Now that I can answer. They were on the way to the tree and were getting set up to join the battle when the breaking occurred.
Okay.
They were close enough to the tree that they were able to stay on the western side of the Juntla Waste when the shattering happened, and so they actually were fairly safe during those events. After the battle happened and after the Dreaming Tree sprang up into existence, they joined up with the Loroupan army, and they kind of stuck around where they were for a little bit, and about the time you all got out of the tree.
Yeah. Picking off stragglers, maybe, of the Dreamer army.
Oh, yes.
He'd go and find them. He'd find Kozik and be like, tell, I guess, however many there are that are with him. He's like, and he'd say, of course, it's his, it's his father figure. He's going to make sure he's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And he would say, he goes, I'm going to go meet up with my brother. And I guess, does he know his brother? I guess he doesn't know. He's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you remember that brother that was dead? He's not dead. He's actually like an elven special forces guy. It's weird.
It definitely sounds weird, but I'm glad to hear that your brother is still alive.
I'm sure Rowena is a crater after the Zahir.
It's complicated. Rowena, you'll find out, is actually on the eastern side of the Jutla split. It is its own it's a part of its own separate continent now. And it's disconnected from the rest of the Margarden Federation. From Rowena to Vesipurin is its own little desert island.
Oh. He'd ask, he goes, has Zahir been seen?
You would find that out actually from your contacts in the Conclave.
Oh, yeah.
The moment the Dreaming Tree regrew and split the world, there was a sighting of the biggest sapphire dragon anybody had ever seen flying away.
Okay.
When the planet was reformed together, there have been reports that the great dragon Arcades flew away from Loroupa completely.
Like into outer space,
into outer space. Yes.
Oh, sweet. All right. He'd tell me, he's like, that might mean we could have ourselves a pretty nice little thieves' kingdom in the remnants of what Rowena was. He's having these moments of, he's like, oh my god, what could we do with that? But then he's gonna think back. He goes, wait, I made promises, and he's gonna say, is like, if you don't create your own little kingdom there, come find me. What was the little border town that I guess is that there, the one that was right on the edge of more? It was like it was Radagast and Ilmithica. Was it?
You're talking Venuis.
Yeah, I guess does that still exist?
It does still exist. It is still technically on the border with Ilmithica. However, Ilmithica itself is also very, very drastically changed. Yeah. The mountain range between Ilmithica and Gulfrin was demolished. It was leveled. And that part of the continent split away. Gulfrin lost about a quarter of its size from the western edge of its landmass, but quite a bit of the Margarden Federation attached to it from Ilmithica, and so now Ilmithica and Gulfrin and the Margarden Federation, or at least a piece of it, is its own subcontinent now.
Ooh, all right. Well, he would tell me, he's like, if you don't go back to Rowena and create your own kingdom, which I will totally respect if you do, I'll come visit. Come and find me in Venuis. And it's like, I'm joining back up with my brother, and I think we're going to need a man that knows how to find things. And he just kind of like, he'll know what that means. He's like, we need a good thief. We need a fence. And so he's gonna give him his hug, say his goodbyes. I guess he'd kind of briefly touch with everybody else and be like, "Hey," it's like, "I'm gone." And then he's gonna go find his brother. And I guess when Liam started talking, as I say, Blood's gonna do something very similar, at least at first, and he is going to join up with those special forces, because They don't have to watch an undead thing anymore. If it's gonna come back.
Yeah. So Ambar Belthor, the corpse in the present, was pretty much destroyed during the breaking.
No.
There's very little left underneath the ground, and Ilmythica has its own issues right now. Being directly in contact with Gulfrin is not on their favorite things list. So the kingdom's in chaos.
Yeah.
And it's not difficult to make your way back there. You know people with magic, and while the first few months of being back is chaotic and there's a lot of things that have to be settled, eventually you can find transportation to get to that subcontinent and make your way back to Ilmythica.
Yeah, because he's going to join up with his brother and with those other elves, and I guess they're not all elves. There are other species amongst that kind of little special forces group, and he's just going to say, I guess if they're going to do the bidding of Ilmythica, probably at least, because that is where they live, and they're, Blood's the new guy. He can't just corrupt them so quickly. And I guess they would be just like that force that's going to go in and start quelling things if there are disputes amongst the two nations. Is they're going to be the group that goes in at night, and then all of a sudden the dispute is over because that village doesn't exist. Maybe, I don't know if that's how they would end up doing it, but they're going to act as that counterinsurgency group.
Yeah.
And he would say, he would talk to the leaders of Ilmythica, and he goes, why don't we offer our services to the other nations? Because while they all have armies, these guys are legendary for no one got into Ilmythica for centuries, and it was because of these people. He's like, why don't we sell our services out to the other nations? We put down their rebellions for them. Or we, anytime something weird pops up, they can call us in and we'll deal with it.
So you're basically building
I'm not.
Ranger shadow organization of fucking Black Ops.
We are not building Snake Eyes at all. No, we're not doing that. But yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
LA said is he's going to need somebody. He's going to know how to get things sold and under the watchful eyes of everybody, and do it quietly, and so they can, make a little money for their home country at some point. And I think before he would have left, he is going to go up to Apollyon. He's like, I'll see you soon, buddy. I love you. And he's going to do something that he is going to regret for a long time. And he's going to steal that rock of the seeming stone. He's gonna take it out of his pocket because he figured he's going to need it. He'll put a rock that looks exactly like it, because he held it before once, and so he's gonna make a duplicate as best he can, paint it up and make it look exactly like it. I mean, I'll do a performance check for that one if you want.
Sure,
see how well he does.
Well, I'm rolling insight.
Yeah, roll that insight.
It's a 17 on how well he made it, but 33.
10, and I shouldn't have advantage.
Why does Blood do these things to his friends? But yeah, he's gonna take it.
No idea.
He'll eventually, probably, if he can find his own, he'll send it back at some point. But yeah, he swapped it, and because he figured, they're gonna maybe need to be undercover to get into places, and it would be great if they could do that and look like other people. And so yeah, that's what his plan is. He's hooking back up with his brother, and at some point, he's gonna try and convince his brother. Because if you remember, before we ever went to go check out Reorc Sigmund, Blood sent a letter to his father, and it was right after Eloise had described meeting a very suave white tabaxi with a scar over his left eye. And he said in the letter, he's like, I don't know how this is possible, but 2 is alive. And so he doesn't know if his father ever got the letter, because I never checked in on that afterwards, and we never did a roll or anything for that.
No, he did get the letter. He did absolutely get the letter. I think it would be a much harder sell to convince 2 to come back.
Yeah.
So roll me a persuasion on that one.
And it's +7. Oh, well, it's 17.
17, yeah, I'll say. It takes a while to convince him. It's probably a few years before you are able to make your way back, but you do find your way back eventually to your home village to find very elderly parents.
And I had said, I guess, because I think he had told too, he's like, he had people checking in on them, and they were raising a little girl. Now, he didn't know if the girl was their birth daughter, like, or if they adopted her, like they took her in. But I'd like to think that they have a daughter, they have a sister out there too. And so I don't know how that interaction will go, since.
Well, you tell me. This is your end game here.
I mean, it would be wishful. I mean, it would just be easy and cheese to say, oh yeah, they welcome him in with open arms. But I mean, that's not. I mean, that's not how life goes for the edgy rogue in most stories. I mean, I would like to think maybe the sister probably is just like, I've only heard negative things about you, and she probably hates him for a while. But I mean, I don't know if they would end up staying anyway. But at least, over time, they keep kind of checking back in, and I would think maybe in time, like, at least it starts to
not be so awkward.
Yeah, it probably takes a few years of them visiting or them writing letters.
Angry Thanksgiving family members.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he goes, hey, I just checked in. I was like, I know I sent you that letter months ago. Didn't check back up. And all of a sudden, a couple years later, I show up with your dead son. I mean, I'm sure they probably freaked out and probably tried to have them arrested or killed at first because they're like, who the fuck is this with my kid's face, Yeah. Just like 2 tried to kill Blood. At first, he's like, why are you wearing my brother's face? Mm-hmm. But it would be something similar to that. But I think it would take time for them to even trust him. Whether or not they ever do, I would hope, but
I think so.
No, I'm not going to just
tends to
tease
heal all wounds and that sort of thing. So it probably takes some time, but eventually it does get less awkward, and relationships can start to form. You have a lot of other business to get on with, running an elite squad of assassins for a government you used to hate. But hey, good on you. I love it. We're going to have to sit down and decide the name for these rangers because...
yeah, I didn't think about that.
They might make a comeback.
Yeah, the name I think would probably change because I can't remember. I've completely lost that fucking notebook. I've been looking for it all day, but I can't. What was the name of the group before? It started with like an M, I believe.
The Molag Mal.
Yes, thank you. Because I was like, I knew it started with an M, and I could not figure out who they were, but I would think it would probably change from that because their
Blood's Brood.
Their purpose is no longer going to be the same. But yeah, I mean, they'd probably recruit people from time to time. Mm-hmm. He might even go and ask Liam, was like, hey, it's like, you want to get off the couch for, it's like, I got something that's up your alley. It's Bradfordshire-esque. I mean,
off the couch. How dare you?
He's going to be running a booze cruise. He's going to be having, half dragonborn babies. He's going to...
I'm splitting my time. I'm fully optimizing. Don't you dare call me a couch sitter. Kyle, absolutely.
He's going to be raising that brood.
Okay, let's.
I'm sure he would check in from time to time and ask, is like, hey, it's like, we might need some help on this. Is like, you want to get the gang back together and join us. And I'm sure from time to time they would work with, because I know they kind of started that relationship with the Conclave. The Il Mythica did, and they had let them in. And so I don't know if there would be they would try. He would at least try and push to foster that relationship a little bit more too. Whether or not that happens, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's a story for the future. Whether or not the Conclave ends up in Il Mythica, but it is in Golfrin, so it's not too far away. But okay,
yeah.
I think this is a good place to take a break. How's that sound? So
Sure.
we will be back in about 10 minutes, folks. And when we return, we're going to hear from Apollyon and find out what the future is in store for him. Stay tuned. Howdy, everybody. We are back. And when we last left off, we were learning about what the future holds for our legendary heroes. And now we turn our attention to Apollyon, who rolled lowest. Shame. But Apollyon, what does the future have in store for you?
Last but certainly not least, well, with a heavy heart, I watch as each of my companions in the Faab Five seeks out where they'd like to go through the portal and jumps through. And as Blood finds his family and where he wants to go and jumps through, he turns back and looks and says, "I'm right behind you, buddy." But then Apollyon pauses. He looks around back into this hollow shell of a universe, the dream realm, and he wonders what it was all for, getting to this point. It was an amazing adventure, don't get me wrong, but he fought his way through monsters and men, tyrants, zombies, insects, all kinds of things, underwater horrors, and now he's standing at the top. He defeated them all, even the Nightmare Child, as close to the thing as an omnipotent being that Apollyon has ever seen. And yet, his heart quests for more. Always more. It is the empty void. He he desires blood at the end of his trident. He desires stepping on his foes and being the victor. But yet there are no foes ahead. So he turns to the portal, urges it to see into the future. When is the next cataclysm? When are the next great wars? Show me them all, so that I may choose a time and place to go descend and to be tested once more.
Damn.
Can't hear you, Matt.
You're muted, Matt.
But you're still coming to dinner, right?
Yeah, that's very interesting. The Dreaming Tree can show you the length and breadth of the future, and there are always confrontations. There are always new challenges to come up and things to face. It doesn't take long before the world of Loroupa heads to yet another it isn't long. I'm going to say it one more time. Okay, let me do my line one more time. It isn't long before another cataclysmic event comes along. And one after that. You have an infinite amount to choose from. An endless existence of fighting if you so wish. Because as your vision goes beyond just Loroupa itself, there is a multiverse of madness out there. There are planes of existence beyond your wildest dreams. Places where even Arcades fears to tread. The multiverse is vast. And there are many, many powerful beings. I mean, hell, if you go far enough, the Veiled One looks like a pretty nice thing to go fight and test yourself on. But there are bigger things than even that. Titans, ancient gods, creatures that exist of pure chaos out there in the multiverse. So really, you have your pick, Apollyon.
Interesting.
Just remember, Eloise is coming after you if you're late for dinner.
Do I ever find a place where there is no fighting, where everything is at peace?
Peace is kind of like an island in a storm. There's safe places here and there, but those safe places are always challenged. So even though there are, like, you can find points in time where there is nothing but peace for years upon years upon years, the very nature of the chaotic universe demands that peaceful times be challenged. And so no matter what, those places are eventually challenged. Sometimes they fall. Sometimes heroes rise up to defend them. It's all part of the great cycle that is the universe. So you could find a place that has peace for a time, but there is no time that isn't eventually challenged. You
Apollyon considers all this, and he goes, peace. Apollyon considers all of this. He goes, yeah, this does look nice and peaceful, but boring. I want to see some wild stuff. And he finds some dimension of, like, pure chaos, of just constant fighting and questing for more power, powerful magic items, and powers, unknown cosmic powers, to rule and defeat any that oppose you. He's become twisted in this desire for it.
Do you ever make it home to have dinner with Eloise?
Let me roll some dice.
Mitchell found a way to plane hop. Sure, Apollyon can too.
Wow.
What?
But you're not a cleric. You got an
No,
11.
I'm not a cleric. Oh. I was gonna give myself a 10% chance.
Oh.
That's an 11.
So somebody's not coming home to dinner.
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not.
Well,
But
there is the interesting thing about druids. The more powerful they get, I'm pretty sure they can plane hop too.
Yep.
she's gonna come find me.
She's just gonna jump from freaking. It's just like
Hundo
Rick and Morty with the portal gun. Just jump into this one. Sending Apollyon.
Yep.
Mhm.
Nope. Next one.
Apollyon's gonna slam some creature against the side of a tree, and as its blood is trickling down, a portal will open up, and Eloise will be like, "Oh, there you are! Come on, it's tea time! God damn it!"
Apple, you're late for dinner.
I 100% see that as canon.
100%. You've all been warned.
Like, and don't hurt this tree either.
Life on Loroupa is very interesting post-breaking. From every corner of the globe, you can see in the center, coming out from the planet, the trunk of that massive tree. A tree whose branches tower over the entirety of the world it now protects. The world that is open once again to the multiverse. It isn't long before other things find Loroupa as well. And one night, well, where most of you happen to be on planet at the time, you all see this odd sight of a shooting star streaking across the horizon before it disappears beyond your vision. But as we roll that scene back and look at the planet from the outside perspective of the solar system, we watch as this odd-looking creature, massive in size, a couple miles long at least, with long tentacles coming out from a spiral-shaped shell, flying close to investigate this newly found planet. It's not long before that ship finds its way to Loroupa too. And more things come as well. For Loroupa is now a part of a vast multiverse. A multiverse where anything is possible. And many, many more stories will be coming from. The winds of the Aether have found Loroupa once again. So get ready for a wild ride, Faab Five. While your true adventuring days are over, life in and of itself is an adventure. And so you settle into that life, content, knowing that for a brief moment, you all were the legendary heroes. It's a pretty nice thing to think about. And our scene kind of pans away from our heroes, battling, making mead, being stealthy and spy-like, or just hanging with the undead. For now, at least one story has come to an end. So, well done, Faab Five. You've completed the Dreaming Tree Saga.
Yay!
Good job, everyone. Love you.
It's been a lot of fun these last 3.5 years. I'm very happy to share it with all of you. So as we're coming to the close of our character story, let's instead turn to our players. Koines, Joe, Alyssa, Kyle, Jeremy. Thank you for a great game. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for DMing it. I did laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen, you've been here for the birth of 2 of my children. You've been here through 2 of my motorcycle accidents, one that almost killed me. And yeah, it's been a lot of ups and downs in my life, and we've consistently played through it.
Yep. We have. 3.5-year campaign. That's always crazy to think about. Really, I mean, when we started things off, I was bored because we were all quarantined and I wasn't working, and I was like, fuck it. I know this buddy I have streams and plays online. Why don't we do that? And why don't we start playing online? And then it evolved into us streaming, and now we've evolved into a network that has 4 different shows going right now. So that's pretty cool. As we kind of close out this campaign, my first thing is before we get into talking about the whole campaign itself, is there any other NPCs you all were wondering what happened to before we kind of start talking about the whole game as itself?
Mine was going to be Mitchell, but you already answered that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Is Fuckerall okay?
Fucklerall is okay, actually.
Fucklerall.
Yeah, Lohim Fucklerall, the Tinklerer, he and his niece and nephew do survive the breaking. They were in the the western side of Morag when because Morag literally split down the middle. Like the city itself, the massive city under the mountain, split in half and separated. And so on these two continents, each one has like half a mountain shaved right down the middle with a big ass city underneath it. Like you know those when you find rocks and you cut it open and they have all the crystals inside and it's hollow. It kind of looks like that, but huge. So Morag is kind of messed up right now, and actually it splits off into two separate nations. The hegemony still remains and is on the eastern side, and on the western side, after about 30 or so years, becomes Nomengrad, and is run kind of by a coalition of a lot of different people. But Fuckleral ends up on the western side there in Nomengrad, and his niece and nephew kind of get out fairly quickly after that point, like after the breaking, because they work for the Conclave at that time, and so they're doing a lot of Conclave stuff, traveling about the world. But they eventually settle down in Coltrast, where Fuckleral sets up a shop, a tinkerer's shop, and he actually invents guns for Coltrast.
Yeah. My character in Curse of Strahd got shot by one of them.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brandy's character Veed made friends with the Fuckleral twins in one of the one-shots from last year, and he gave them Falderal gave Veed the gun, and Veed has that gun now in Curse of Strahd. So yeah, a lot of interweaving going on. But yeah, Lohim's fine. Lohim, actually, you're going to see Lohim in the Aethertech Wars. He's going to be showing up at some point.
Nice.
So, yeah. Any other NPCs you're interested in?
What? Alright, where the fuck is Golden Tooth?
Golden Tongue. Oh, yeah.
Golden Tongue, yeah. Blood, he probably would have made it, a mission to hunt him down and kill him. So, I mean, if you're going to give that to Blood...
I mean, that doesn't sound at all like Blood.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sure Blood spends quite a bit of time searching for Golden Tongue when you all get back to Loroupa, like years. But you never find him. I'll just tell you what happened. Golden Tongue slipped back out the door in the past. There's this is a little bit of a canon thing. Golden Tongue, seeing what happened, realizes that it's his job to set up the future, and for the followers of the Dreamer. So he slips in with the populace and begins weaving the tales of the 5 heroes that appeared from the future, and starts building up the story of the legendary heroes. Golden Tongue wrote the legend of the 5 heroes and set them up to become the 5 Loroupan gods. That way, there's always that seed of the cult in that future church. He spends his life in with the people underground, laying the framework that eventually becomes the Cult of the Dreamer.
Beautiful.
I hate him even more now.
Yeah.
You know what? I hunt his ancestors, because I'll just, if I find someone that shares the name, they die. I mean, it's just make Blood feel better.
Just randomly throughout Loroupa, if you have the name Golden Tongue, you're just assassinated. You don't know why. Nobody knows why.
It's a unique family name.
I like it. Anybody else?
God damn it. Now I really hate him.
Yeah, but I love Matt even more for that.
Come on, that's pretty good symmetry.
That's really good. I like it.
Because that ties in with fucking Cog and some of the shit. Oh, God, I really hate him. I guess, I mean, the other members of the Debauchery Circus, I mean, they're sort of NPCs in our side of the story.
Sure, and you guys are
I mean-
NPCs in theirs as well. So I recap. We talked about this in the Debauchery Circus's campaign wrap up, but I don't mind talking a little bit about that too because it's been a while. Ichabod Sykes goes on to create a Fist of the Father in Coltrast. Actually,
I had a feeling that
he creates a
has
paladin
something
unit.
to do with, yeah.
Which does spread. There's a chapter in North EMEA who Urzak is a member of.
Mm-hmm.
He dies about 25 years after the events. Just he spends his whole time campaigning and fighting and helping to build up Coltrast, and Bree wanted him to die in battle before his grandson was too old, so that's what happened. Let's see. Brandy's character, the turtle monk that changes her name all the time, which is very symmetrical to me because Liam also has multiple names. So I always found that funny that the two monks in the two campaigns all have random names. But she goes back to Coltrast and invents. She has a monastery that trains martial fighters there. She actually has her own fighting style that she develops and spends most of her days just living out in Coltrast, working jobs for the Conclave and training people at her dojo. But eventually she goes to mate and to end her life and to progenerate. So that's what happens to her probably about 100 years or so later. Blazner actually stays at the Dreaming Tree. He creates a small druid grove to protect the tree and eventually melds into the tree itself and becomes its eternal protector. So Blazner spends the rest of their existence protecting the Dreaming Tree itself. Corin stays in Coltrast and becomes Edmund's major domo and chief advisor. He spends a lot of his time in Ilmithica, working on the relationship between Ilmithica and Gulfrin, since his husband Ichabod is from Gulfrin. So there's a lot of travel between those two nations, trying to create some form of peace, which over the course of like the next 40 years, there's like some positive direction in that regard between Ilmithica and Gulfrin, but it's still a process. And by the time the Aethertech Wars start, Corin is still working as an ambassador from Coltrast, trying to mend the relationship between those two people. So that's kind of basically what he spends his time doing, helping Edmund run the barony of Coltrast and being an ambassador to Ilmithica.
So while he's trying to foster peace, Blood's trying to undo it.
Yeah. It's a very apropos thing. I'm sure the two of you interact with one another quite often over the span of however long you choose to you think your character would actually live. That's about it. Let's see. Shadows in the Wind does eventually call on you all for that favor to help Willow out. I'm trying to organize that into a future one shot, so we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, I was even thinking
be some cool one shots. We could do Apollyon's Multiverse of Madness. Just like one shot, like dungeon grinder.
So
Just
So
like
you're
there's some
like
enemies go.
the new leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, you got 4 characters with
Yeah,
you that are
I'm like
like
Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah.
I'm like Captain Marvel, like flying around the universe, just fighting who needs to be fought.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the campaign we played itself. Like we said, we've been at it for 3.5 years. I'm going to tell the story a little bit from my perspective. Like I've said before, we started out in the quarantine. Nobody was working. We couldn't really do a whole hell of a lot. Me, Kyle and Koines were all in a home campaign run by another friend of ours who streams on Twitch. His name is DM Quicksilver, and he was kind of teaching me a little bit about playing online while we were playing his game. And then I was like, you know what? We're bored. I'm bored. I want to run a campaign, so I'm gonna do one online. And so I started one. I started looking for players online and found a handful of them. And Kyle and Koines joined up the campaign as well. And we started playing. And then eventually Eloise joined, or Alyssa joined our group as well because, scheduling conflicts and things like that happen. And eventually when the story started, which we talked about in our episode 0, our recap episode, I started the group out in the exact way every good D&D campaign should start out, at an inn, at a tavern. I love
For
that
them.
trope. Yeah, I love that trope. It's like my favorite old school D&D character trope. So
You meet in a tavern.
You met
Yeah.
me somewhere on the road
Yep.
being attacked by half orcs?
Yeah,
Guards?
orcs.
No, they were.
Or
I thought
were
they were giants.
Hill
No.
giant.
Hill
Yeah, they were
giant.
hill giants. Yeah,
Were they?
Hmm.
yeah.
No, I
They're
don't
hill giants.
No.
There were-
No.
I thought they
think they're
had-
hobgoblins.
No,
we fought giants shortly after, but she was
Yes.
surrounded by
They're
orcs.
orcs or
Yeah,
hobgoblins.
it was either orcs
Yeah,
or
they were-
hobgoblins. It was
Yeah.
one of the
I
two.
think they were
You know what?
orcs because they were like guards or something.
Yeah, I think
Guys, what happened over 3 years ago?
Well, I could tell
Yeah.
you here. So it was orcs. I do remember that. It was people. They were mercenaries who worked for the Cult of the Dreamer, who were just looking for the prisoners who had
They
escaped.
were cultists?
Yes, they were cultists.
We never found that out.
Well, because
Oh, we knew that.
they
No,
weren't
we
actually
did.
cultists. They weren't actually cultists. They were
They were just-
mercenaries hired
yeah.
by the cultists.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were
I
just
just
mercenaries.
assumed everyone was a cultist at that point in the game, honestly.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I knew nothing about cults at that point.
No, you didn't. You just knew you were being questioned and about to be attacked, and then these chuckle fucks came running up and saved you.
I'm pretty sure I saved them because the orcs just automatically started attacking these guys. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what the fuck? That doesn't seem fair. I don't know any of you. So I just started helping them.
Yeah.
I think the giants was after Apollyon cooked the fucking
Owlbear
owlbear egg in
yeah.
the goddamn cave, which drew our attention, people. And I think that was what we ran into a couple of giants on the road.
Yeah.
But did you die?
Close, probably. I don't remember exactly. Probably
Hey.
close.
An owlbear omelet, that's worth it.
What a
Yeah, so is a giant killer owl bear for a pet for the group.
Mm. But yeah, so that's kind of how we got started. And then as we were playing, I wanted to start streaming, and so I started doing it and learning how to do it. And I feel like I'm better at it now than I was 3 years ago. But here we are, finishing campaign 1. The Faab Five and the Debauchery Circus was campaign 1. It was the two of them were two halves of a interwoven story. And we even did a crossover between them, which was a lot of fun. And so we've done a lot of stuff, and it's been one hell of a campaign, and I know I've had a blast doing it. So here's my question to everyone. We're just going to go around the table, starting with Apollyon and working our way to Veil. Here's my question. What was your favorite moment from the campaign? What was that one thing that was like, holy shit, that was just awesome, and you always think about it? So, Koines, you got something?
Yeah, probably fight the whole arc of us fighting in the arena was just super cool because that was my character's backstory and like each fight we went into, like I didn't know what to expect because you would change like one was water and one was everybody was flying and uh had the things that spit out flamethrowers or whatever. Like it was really cool and interesting, and I couldn't wait for the next session each time to see what it would be.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like I spent several months just talking about how am I going to do this fucking Coliseum thing because while PvP sounds cool in my mind, that doesn't really translate well to D&D. And so how am I going to do
Yeah,
this?
no, you did it good having it be like a coliseum where everybody's like tested.
Hmm.
And then obviously you're gonna have a couple people that are gonna fight against each other, but having it be like a team made a lot more sense.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it was a lot of fun. Like I actually went and watched Gladiator again and was looking at the different ways they did the battles from the beginning, like the chariot thing and all of that. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm digging this. And so that's kind of how I put that together.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Right on. Right on. Joe, how about you? You got something?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of good ones, but I think it's got to be when you fired a very interesting looking arrow at Blood, and then he had to go on a little mission, and it ended up he found his brother in Ilmithica. Because when I had started, I mean, 3.5 years ago. I mean, it's 8 years now, but 3.5. Like at that time, I was like, I didn't realize I had done this until like partway through the campaign. But I had written my own brother's death as Blood's brother dying.
Hmm.
And so I mean, I had a lot of issues over that that I hadn't really dealt with, and I guess I got to partially deal with it through the campaign. And I never got to. I mean, he died of a heroin overdose. I mean, it's the thing. It happens to lots of people these days. It's probably he had his demons,
Hmm.
and he was abandoned and dumped in an alleyway.
Oh.
And like I think he overdosed. Someone didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to take him to the hospital, so they just dumped him in an alley. And so I just kind of felt as like I realized I had written. It's like, well, Brud's brother died, and they left him like in a ditch fighting elves as he was dragged away. I was just like, son of a bitch. And that kind of hit me pretty hard when I finally realized what I had done,
Hmm.
and then I got to like be able to say hi to my brother again, through Blood saying hi to two, and got to reunite with him. So that was something that I guess was a healing thing for me, that I was able to have my brother in my life again.
Right on. Yeah. Like I say this a lot, but D&D is a little bit like therapy. You get to kind of be able to look at yourself from another person's point of view in a way, and that kind of makes it really cool. So I appreciate that. Um, Alyssa, how about you?
Uh, there's so many cool moments though. But I think for me, it's less about like a moment and more about like, um, the best part of it for me was how like the relationship that each of our characters built with each other was just so cool.
Mm.
Like getting to whack Blood on the head and uh getting to Veil gets a heart and
Hmm.
it's just like it's the little things that build up, you know?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know. I'm bad at explaining feelings.
No, I dig it. I absolutely do. Yeah, I mean,
I will never forget the fact that you shot my dad out of the sky.
Hey, he shouldn't have been
Never
flying.
let that go.
Hey, he shouldn't have been flying there. It's his own fault.
That honestly, that was probably one of my favorite moments, and I'm going to explain why. Because when you know your players and you know just how their minds work, you can predict exactly what they're going to do in certain circumstances. And so, if you've been teasing the archery dude about a giant bird flying through the air that you can kill and get something fun, and then put a shadow of a bird, of course he's going to shoot at it. Of course he's going to.
Yeah. There were rocks up in that goddamn mountain range, and Blood wanted to kill him a rock. And, then he just sees his bird in the distance. He's like, oh, here comes baby. He's like, all those feathers, she's going to pay money for. And then...
Oh, and then just the reaction of, oh, by the way, no, there's a big giant falling from the sky.
I wasn't the only one that shot him, by the way.
No.
You're the only one
Yeah,
who
but
hit.
you're the only one who refuses to apologize for it.
No. I was not the only one that hit. Liam's arrow hit him, too.
I know, that's what I said, but I apologized.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what? Blood would be like, hey, he's like, he didn't know who he was. He did say he was sorry, but he's not
No,
taking back the shit. Yes, he did. He's like,
No,
he ain't taking back that
You
shot.
said it. Blood said it, but he didn't mean it. He was too
hey.
proud of his shot.
Goddamn right. All right. That was, that's coming up with the bittersweet thing. It's like, it's going to be something. Not shoot your father out of the sky. That's definitely a praising moment. That could have, that and that fucking rabbit from 300 feet. That, come on. It's like...
it was fun. Okay.
By the way, anytime in the future that he brings up hitting that rabbit, Liam's going to bring up him doing a crit fail when they were trying to sneak in the dungeon there. So, yeah, the prison break.
Hey, you know what?
Blood blue. He's going to bring that up every time you bring up that bunny.
The loud ass fucking noises before that is what blew everything. I was like, but I still passed the DC. So I still
DC.
Feel... Hey,
crit fail is a crit fail.
Is
a crit fail.
Door opened still, didn't it? But he just made noise opening it. Door still fucking opened. So he did his job.
Then he's going to continue to bring it up. So
did his
whatever.
job. Did his job.
Okay. Kyle, Liam's favorite moments in... it's hard to pin any one moment, but kind of when you would take like our backstories and interweave them. Me and Alyssa, not knowing we had both chosen Goliaths for like a main character in our backstory, you tied those together so well, and like just couldn't possibly see it coming. Or if I wrote something in there and you paid attention and you tweaked a little bit of it to make it go, there's where you screwed up, bud. I'm all like, oh, it was just awesome. Just feeling stuff that like we put in our backstories come to life, that you paid so much attention to it that the payoff was just great. I wanted to find out what happened to Groot the entire time. And I just wanted to get away from him when I wrote about him,
Yeah.
So like it was really cool storytelling stuff like that just got me every time.
Right on. I love doing stuff like that. I even if I only get like a few sentences from somebody, I want to try to weave that in somehow and just make it more memorable because that's just great playing. That's just great role playing, and I love.
I think I wrote like a 7-page backstory for Liam,
you did.
and you read the whole thing, and it was great. I loved it.
Right on. Okay, Jeremy, how about you?
So I'd say honestly, the most happy I was my favorite part of the campaign was just the coincidence of me rolling a 100 for our question. And it just happened to be the time where I was debating picking up that staff or not. But because I rolled the 100, you're like, yeah, pick up the staff. And it became like, the most powerful staff I could have, one of the most powerful. And
like the third 100 in a row we had too. Yeah.
That was that was definitely like my favorite part in game. And then the honorable mention was in game when I finally I proposed the idea. I think I sent you a video of how to capture how to control a dragon, an undead dragon, or Dracula, I think it was. But it was like a year and a half in the making, and as it was all coming together, I was in the hospital, and it was I was in there for like 20 something days at that point, and it and it just so happened that I had a bowel movement for the first time. I was able to use a commode by myself, so I didn't have to use a bedpan or anything. And it was happening, and I'm like, okay, I can't not do this right now, so I'm doing it as the freaking dragon's coming, and I'm like trying to play it off, and like I have myself on mute, and I'm trying to honorable mention there.
That is amazing.
I thought you were going to mention how during our underwater battle, Matt misreading one little spell line saved you from total death.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
it's so
I was
good.
almost vaporized.
Yeah. Yep.
Why do I want
That's
to
true.
remind them of that?
Yeah, that's true. Like I missed the whole thing. I thought it just zapped him. I didn't see the whole thing about disintegration because there's no way to come back from that underwater.
No, there were no.
And we were underwater, so the dust would have just like dissipated.
Yeah, it would be fish food. There'd be no way to come back from it, and
I would have had to roll a new character.
Yep, you would have, but I'm glad that I did, because I'm glad. I love the fact that you're literally, you five are the first group I've ever played through a campaign with that their characters survived to the very end.
Nice.
You're the first group that's ever done that. And like
I mean, we're the legendary heroes.
Yeah, you're the legendary heroes. And actually, that whole thing, like, it was a coin flip, because when I gathered my groups together, I realized I had too many people to just do one campaign, and I didn't want to just say, nope, fuck you, you can't play, no, fuck you, you can't play. So I split it up. I found a couple more people, and I made 2 campaigns instead of 1, which I was insane to do that.
Yeah, that was nice.
I can't believe I managed to get both campaigns all the way through to the very end. But it was definitely a labor of love on my part. But yeah, anyway, I digress. So I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second.
Yeah,
But
you ever, I mean, between that and then the I mean, I guess, yeah. If we played it by the rules, if you didn't misread that, I would have died there.
Yep.
And there was a Yanti at some point, but we're not going to count that in there.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, we don't count that.
That was our own justice. We took care of that.
Yeah, exactly. That one definitely doesn't count.
That was a choice, not a law.
So yeah, he didn't get a kill that one. We got that kill. So
yeah. Well, and like I'm seriously, like players come and players go. It happens sometimes, but overall, like I've been playing D&D for years and years and years. Like I started playing myself as a GM when I was I was 15, so 95 was the first time I ever GM'd a game.
Did you have a favorite moment of the campaign, Matt?
Yeah, I do, and I'm going to get to it in a second.
Sorry.
But over the course of, like, from 95 to now, 2024, you're the first group that didn't have to make a new character. And that's, to me, is awesome.
That means that you did really good as a GM with balancing everything and shit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't try to kill my players. I actually root for my players. I hate the trope that it's the players versus the GM. That's stupid. No, we're telling a story together. I want you to succeed. I'm just gonna put you in scenarios that you have to use your brain and try to figure out. And there's always a way out, even if that way out is running. But some things just happen. You make a bunch of bad dice rolls. I roll really freaking well, and someone ends up dead. It just happens. It happened in the Debauchery Circus a few times, actually. So
that was just a perfect storm for their deaths, though.
yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm going to go off on my own, and then just chaos happened in that room.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's what happens. It always boils down to just dice rolls. But me, other than one error, just me not reading something, because of that, you made it through the whole campaign without losing a character. So that's awesome. So well done. Now, as far as my favorite moment, I had a few, like the one I mentioned. Shooting Vulcan out of the sky. That was awesome. I loved that. My moments were like the surprise moments, getting to Bradfordshire and finding the whole place just decimated, and that was like everyone's reactions were awesome to me.
I liked that too.
Apollyon becoming
aberration of
an eldritch horror. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, Apollyon becoming an eldritch horror. That was great. I fucking loved that. And unfortunately, that episode, like the audio, ain't the greatest. It kind of bums me out a little bit. It's okay, but not well. But and Koines' his volume is like lower than everyone else's, but like the scene itself was so great.
Mm-hmm.
It really was.
Didn't we fail casting Greater Restoration on him once? Because I remember I was trying to distract him by playing Find the Lady.
Mm-hmm.
Blood was, and I think we failed. I think
you were trying to, and you weren't able to, and me and
before
Koines
we fought him.
Yeah, and me and Koines had been just talking about it behind the scenes, like, okay, I want you to be the bad guy, and I want you to try to kill him, and we're going to use these powers, and here's your monster stats sheet. You're gonna have legendary actions and all that stuff. So have some fun with it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those moments that take like a little creativity in the moment. The fireball to open the door that the room had flooded.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great like in the moment thought process. I loved that. That was a great. That was all Veil too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Veil tried to surreptitiously steal all of the wrapped up bodies outside. It's like, oops, looks like your lockpicking has been seen, just like in Baldur's Gate 3, so it happened so many times.
Well,
how are you going to talk your way out of this one?
An honorable mention to every time Eloise sent a message.
Oh, yeah. Those were always fun.
Our own little jester.
But yeah, honestly, like running a necromancer in a good campaign and trying to keep things like flowing is complicated as hell. Like,
who is the lawyer? Robert Crouppen or something like that?
Yes, the lawyer who had to talk your way out of being arrested.
After I already broke my legs from jumping off the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, it was very hard to run a necromancer. That was my first time running it, and probably my last.
I think it's hard to run one, period. Yeah, because it's so complicated of a class, and then there's just a gap where there's really nothing special about it, and all of a sudden at a high level you can raise really high level undead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like wow, I get boring shit for a while, but you just got to figure out a cool way to do it.
Well,
there's a lot of moving parts too.
Yeah, tons of moving parts, and every battle basically becomes a freaking a Warhammer game.
Yeah.
Because he has like 8 additional things running around the field at the same time, but you're still trying to balance everything and make the battles like fun and dynamic while also accounting for literally 8 other NPCs that just come up and kill things.
Yeah, and I also didn't want to take up too much time either. So that's why I always had my moves planned out ahead of time in my head, and then I had a backup just in case something changed before it was my turn, because I didn't want to sit there and have literally 9 or actually 10, because myself, 8 zombies, and then Jareth. So I had 10 turns basically on each of our turns, and I didn't want to sit there and take up everyone's time and say, okay, well, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. So I would lump it all together and try to do it fast and make sure that when it was my turn, I was able to just do it quickly.
Oh yeah, it's like literally you're playing chess with every single encounter, and there's so many things you have to consider. Yeah, like me as a GM, I've never ran a necromancer before through a whole campaign. I've done them for one shots before, but that was about it. And so I was like, when you pitched me the idea, I was like, hell yeah, this sounds fun. Not really thinking about the fact of all the logistics that go into planning every single battle we did.
Yeah,
Sex dolls and Quicksilver.
Yeah,
Never know you're gonna go there.
sex dolls and Quicksilver. God damn.
Ooh, or the surprise water Leviathan fight. That was crazy, dude.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I
But the
had
good thing was, it stayed in the water.
It brought the water with it.
yeah,
that's right.
yeah. I
That's
kind
right,
of
it was a good way.
I kind of homebrewed that one just to make sense for a battle on the pier, and so like, and we came up with this in like 20 minutes because you rolled another nat 100, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make you fight something, and so the entire thing was improv, and I had about like 15 minutes to find a monster and kind of tweak it to make sense for the encounter and all that. So yeah, it was wild. It was a lot of fun.
Those are the most fun times when you're just like making shit up as you go.
Yeah.
I'd love when Alyssa goes, I don't know if he's got a map for that, and Matt goes, oh, I got a map for that. I'm prepared. Those are great. I love those moments.
Dude, like I would literally, for most of the game, I would set up 3 different scenarios that I thought you guys would do. And so I would just set up different things and, okay, here's the choices that I think they're going to do. Here's their options. Because, I mean, part of running a game is just like trying to coax people in a certain direction while also allowing them to have agency over their choices. So all the branching paths eventually re-merge, but I always had to be prepared because it could go like 5 different ways, and so I always had different maps and I had different tokens on those different maps, and whatever you were doing at the time, that's what was going to be dropped in.
Well, I mean, it wasn't so much of like me thinking that Matt was unprepared. It was more like, oh shit, are we doing something completely? It feels like we're doing something completely out of left field. Matt, do you need us to just like role play for a few minutes while you make them? Like, do you need us to like just take over here for a few minutes?
And they're just like, nope, here you go.
I actually tried to force those moments. And you're like, let's see how bad we can. Everyone's like, let's just fuck with them and see what we can do.
Probably. I accept that headcanon. Okay, since we've talked about our favorite moments, let's talk about our most bittersweet moments. What were those moments that really, like, either frustrated you or, like, just hit hard and was like, holy shit, I need a week to think about this? Koines, why don't you go first?
Probably having to meet up with Biscuit again, and then deciding to leave him behind. That he didn't want to come with me. That he was happy with his life, and that was like hard for Apollyon to accept for a minute. But he knew that there was more out there in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, didn't we decide that by a dice roll? I think.
I think so, something like that. Persuasion or something.
Yeah.
And he was just like, nah.
Like, nope, I'm happy with my life. I'm just going to keep going. But if you want to stop by and say hi, you absolutely can.
Yeah, because like the whole first half of the campaign, I was like, oh man, I have to make it back to Biscuit. And then it was just like, hey, what's up, dude? Like,
well, you know, like not every story can be like tragic and angsty. I wanted to like have one where it's just like, oh, okay. Not nearly as bad as what could have been. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it worked out in the end. It was just funny.
Biscuit goes, "You left me behind."
I mean, I definitely could have gone that route, but it's like there's when you're juggling the 5 stories together, you want some moments to be like really tragic and other moments to be lighthearted and fun. And I've always kind of viewed Apollyon as the lighthearted, fun character of the group. Absolutely. So it, like in the moment, it really did feel right, and I definitely enjoyed it.
Hell yeah.
Joe, why don't you go next?
Well, I mean, like there was a couple. I mean, like not getting that kill on that dragon.
Mm.
It's for Blood growing up. Like he looked to his father like he was a god, and his father was a great hunter. And then he always had this dream about, that ironically he became his own hero. That there was a Tabaxi hero that was part of the 5, and he wanted to have a legendary kill like that, and just missing out on that fucking dragon. I was like, that annoyed me just a smidge, because like, god damn it, it's like, that's something that I had built it up in my own head, that it definitely, to Blood says like, yeah, he's gonna want that fucking dragon. But the one in the sky fight, when we were in the Sky Temple, the one that got away, that he was riding on Apollyon trying to catch.
Oh yeah.
With that he was
One shot could have taken it down. Yeah.
Dueling that dragon, and he was doing the most damage to it. He wanted that fucking kill. But I think really what it would end up being is, it was before we even started streaming, and before we even came across Eloise. I wanted to see how it would play out, joining the fucking cult and kill it, and going from inside and seeing how that would work. Because I remember you told me after after that session, you're like, he goes, yeah, your plan was working. I was like, you convinced them, you were gonna be sent to the Dream Witness, and we were gonna do this shit in between, and then someone
we got
very poorly stole something from the big bad guy, didn't fucking put it back properly, and then drank a potion. Pieced the fuck out. Oh,
not putting it back at all led to some comical moments.
Yeah, and it did give you a super powerful weapon early in the game.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's cool and all, and I love that part of it too. And I really kind of wanted to use that weapon on Grovajar and be like, maybe even get a kill on him with his own weapon. That would have been cool too. But yeah, no, that just I wanted to be able to play that shit out. And
I thought the funny thing is, I thought y'all were going to, I actually had a map set up, and I had a lower level Dream Witness set up and ready to go.
Wow.
Just in case you ended up going there, and it would have been, the thing would have tried to mind rape you, and either you would have become actual cultist. And
I know. That's the exciting part of it. It was the early on campaign Hail Mary of all Hail Mary. And I so badly wanted to see how that would have played out.
Yeah, I have that map set up. It was
great. We were all on the same page, and then everybody in uniform goes, "What are you doing to this guy?"
It took me some super high rolls to convince you guys, and then to convince the mercenaries outside the camp, and then to convince Grovajar. I was on my fucking game, and then just. God damn it. Veil, of course, that almost could have been a favorite moment where he's just like, he goes, oh, I'm sorry, I just went back to bed. I thought that was cool. Where he just fucking Misty steps back into the tent.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, he goes, I thought I was just going back to bed. I'm sorry. Just trying to play that shit off. I'm just, ooh. And then, I almost kind of wanted to run like a fucking John McClane campaign because you guys got caught. I was trying to get outside the camp to fight. And then I got taken down. I was just like, oh, it was a prison break. It would have been cool. And then we met, that ties into the next question. We meet my favorite NPC in that camp. So
Oh
I
yeah,
That's where we met
Tomas.
Golden Tongue.
Mhm. No, we met Golden Tongue there too, but no,
that's true, yeah.
Tomas is my favorite. But yes,
Oh.
I mean that was my most bittersweet moment is not getting to play out pretending to join the cult
Yeah.
and seeing how that shit would go. Because I could have just derailed everything
Mhm.
with my confidence of being able to bullshit my way in. And
That
yeah.
would have made the game interesting, that's for sure.
Oh my god, do you think we could have gone and killed the other party, dude? We could have derailed both campaigns.
And then that scene in the movie Labyrinth where that worm tells her, "Oh, don't go that way. Never go that way," and then she goes the other way, and the worm's like, "Yeah, that would have led her straight to the castle."
What could have been?
What could have been?
Oh well.
Oh well. Okay, Alyssa, what was your most bittersweet moment?
Gosh. I don't know. I mean, like right off the bat, well, nearly right off the bat, like you hit me with the basically destruction of an entire druid grove.
Yeah.
The whole reason I ended up meeting with these.
I got my cloak there. That was
Yeah,
cool.
blow up your plan right off the bat. He's good at that.
Mhm. That's true.
But yeah, so that was bittersweet. Not even having a single person to save there. It sucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woke Eloise up right quick. Yeah,
that's
no, I
right.
don't
There
know.
were no survivors. Oh.
No survivors.
No,
Not a single one.
the dragon there was experimenting with necromancy itself and was creating zombies woven with plants, which was something that the cult was doing. The dragon actually found some of the cult's stuff and was trying it out for herself, and that's why she had taken over that grove.
Mhm.
But I mean, other than that, just little things like finding out that Grood and Eloise's dad were from the same tribe and we're probably the only two left of that tribe. And then, having that's the reason that he goes off to try and find him, and just like little things, like finding out that the reason that Bradfordshire is in shit was because of him. That was big.
Yeah, that definitely was.
I kept saying when we left the Dreamwood, it's just like, we'll just go to Bradfordshire. It's right there. And leave. No, we can't go there. I was like, what's so bad about Bradfordshire? And I kept pushing it because we didn't know yet.
Right.
And then we found
I know.
out
There's only so many. I only have like one town in my head that do not go to this town, and you're all like, why can't we just go there? I'm all like, just drop it, bro.
It made it a little, that almost could have been another favorite moment. A little sweeter when we found out that Liam was a mass murderer. And Blood can hold that over his head all the time.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you're all mass murderers at this point. But yeah, Liam, Kyle, is Bradfordshire your most bittersweet moment?
No, it was just so awesome the way you wrote that. Most bittersweet for me happened in the crossover tournament when you rolled that nat 20 to bite me, and it threw off my entire game plan. Like, I initially started, I'll just roll with this, and then I found out how bad this could be, and I could be like attacking Eloise in the middle of the night and stuff like that, and so we had to do a whole side mission just to take care of stupid Liam, and it not only, like it sucked and was awesome at the same time because I had this plan for this character build that was going so well, and I even got to use some of those abilities to like add AC to Eloise and stuff like that. And as soon as I got to use those abilities, I couldn't use them anymore. And I got these new things that complement my character just so well. It was a toss-up, you know. It was so hard to throw away what I'd been building to just like throw caution to the wind and be like, all right, I can be flexible, and I loved being Blood Hunter towards the end there. It was fun.
Yeah.
Was it always going to be a were-tiger, or was it something else potentially?
Well, I mean,
I got bitten by a tiger.
Yeah, he got bitten by a were-tiger, so he has to become one.
Well, no, was that the idea for it? Was that your idea to make him a were-tiger, or
nope? That actually happened organically
by chance.
Yeah, I happened to throw in were-tigers into a battle at the Coliseum for the fun of it because I thought that was a cool-sounding battle, and one happened to bite Liam, and I literally even sent a cleric to go heal him, and Liam was like, "Nah, I'm fine, no worries."
He wanted to be a fake ass tiger. It's okay.
Well, I took Liam's ignorance into play there. I'm all like, you know what? Let's see what happens, you know, and that it turned out to be interesting, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely did. So we kind of had to like sit down and talk about it a little bit and to figure it out. And I did a lot of research on the subject of like lycanthropy and D&D and all of that. I did a really big deep dive, and it was like, okay, well, realistically speaking, either the curse has already taken hold, so either Liam's going to become an NPC monster that they're eventually going to have to fight, or we got to find a way around this. And how are we going to find a way around this? And so I started looking at the Blood Hunter and realized that there's a lycanthrope version of the Blood Hunter, and I'm like, hey, okay, here's your options. What do we want to do? And so we kind of went with it. And that's how Liam became a were-tiger.
Yeah, the elves want to kill all of us as soon as we get there because of that. That was fun.
Well, at least it took like guys off of our necromancer for a minute. Shoot.
That's true. Actually, that whole thing did kind of keep Veil on the DL a little bit because there's just something more important to focus on.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped out. Okay, Jeremy, what was your bittersweet moment?
I would say probably when we were when I how do I word this? When I almost betrayed the party or led up to about to betray the party, and I feel like I was hoping I had you guys on your toes thinking that it actually might happen.
Oh, Blood 2 are going to kill you.
Yeah. And then at the last minute, I, betrayed my god and disintegrated a drow. But the time leading up to it was really, I wanted to make it so it could be a possibility, and the players actually would think that maybe this is Jeremy's way of ending, his character in the game. And I wish I kind of, in real life, IRL, I wish I played it off more like I wasn't going to be able to join the campaign much longer, so that you thought that it was actually going to be a real betrayal. But it was bittersweet because, I got to, I had to betray my god and then obviously get my eye taken away eventually. But it was, the sweet part was I didn't have to play Veil as an asshole anymore. I could actually be a fun team player.
Oh, it was part of your charm.
Yeah.
I mean, when you weren't able to be there, we got to be the asshole through Veil.
But it was also like there are ways to play, and I think the way that you played it was you kind of like included it, like you're like, it was kind of like, yes, my character's an asshole, but haha, we're all in on it kind of thing. Whereas there are some people who just are assholes and they use playing as an opportunity to be able to be assholes. So I don't know. I think
he took the arrogance of elves and just really kind of laid it on thick, which I mean is perfectly fine. I was like, I fully get it.
Yeah, and I think the way that I was able to balance it, so I wasn't just like, okay, this guy's character really sucks, and maybe we're starting to think this guy's an asshole. The way I balanced it was, he was arrogant and did do things that were really selfish, but when it came down to it, he still helped the party.
Yeah, he never.
And his excuse for it was, well, if this party dies, then I won't be able to get my goal. You know, his selfish reasoning was, you know, if I don't do this or go along with this plan or help out these guys, then I won't get my end goal. So it was balanced where I wasn't a complete like Dirk and, you know, completely selfish and make it not fun for the other players.
No, it made that final decision a really sweet payoff to watch, though.
Oh yeah.
I remember talking because I remember when we had to fight Apollyon, we started a separate chat for the rest of us. Like, all right, how are we going to deal with Apollyon? So Apollyon, I don't think we ever even told you that. I was like, yeah, we started a little with the four of us. It's
No,
like,
I knew.
I was like, how are we going to deal with Apollyon now? And I remember, I think I was talking, I was like, because we were like, Veil's not going to really do this, is he? I was like, there's no way Jeremy's just going to shit on all of us. It's like, something's going to happen. But I was fully prepared. That's why I think right before it happened, it's like I had him tell his brother, like in Tabaxi, I was like, he's not a friend anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was like right before. And then I think I had like a work call. So I didn't even I had to go back and watch your speech later. So yeah, it's like, then I was like, I remember him saying, telling his brother, was like, yeah, he's no longer a friend.
Nope,
I was
Eloise
like,
had full faith, 100%.
Yeah,
She sees the best in
it's
everyone.
like in
You know what?
Justice League, every time Superman gets brainwashed, then Batman has like a plan to take him down.
You know,
Yeah.
all right. You guys kept fucking calling Blood paranoid the whole. How many times is Blood fucking right though? Quite a few. Why his paranoia was working. So I was like, all right, shit. It's like somebody's got to do it. It's gonna be fucking Blood and his brother. It's like he'll take the heat. He don't care.
Oh, I don't know if it would be a bittersweet moment, but a moment that me as a player and Eloise as a character regret is Blood making her revive
You know,
Corin in the crossover.
I kind of, you know what? I kind of regret it too.
Yeah.
Only because just. I mean, I won't get into that personal thing.
Because I rolled a die.
But,
I rolled a die, like, physically in person. I was just like, okay, Evens, she's just going to be like, he made it, like, he's an idiot, just revive him and whatever. Odds, he's an idiot and he deserves what he got. And I rolled odds, and I was like, oh, fuck. So that I was like, I can't play that. So I just, because I can't, like, it was a character. It was a player from the other game. I was like, I can't be the one to make that decision. So that's why I was like, Eloise looks up at Blood and was like,
I love that you went to Blood because you knew how much Blood hated him at the time.
It was so funny. And honestly, the look on Steven's face was priceless.
Because I was sitting there, I was like, shit, I was like, this is my moment. I was like, this is it. And then I was like, God, I can't shit on Matt's other campaign because that's going to fuck things up.
Well, that's why I was like, I can't. I just rolled a die, and I still can't be the one to pull the trigger on that. So that's why I was like, I was like.
And then I was thinking, I was like, well, I think we're also. I was like, I can't. Was Veil Veil had teleport, so Veil could have still. He's the one that got us out in the end, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like we didn't even need Steven's character really, because that was the final door, wasn't it? That was the vault.
Yeah.
That was just before the vault and before he did some other very stupid things.
No, so, I think that wasn't that the final.
It was before the construct, before that final fight.
Yeah, but it was the vault to get in. There was the door to get into the big vault to fight the construct. I think. So we were. That was pay dirt. We were home. We could have done that shit without him. I'm not gonna. I mean.
I remember my bittersweet moment.
but it's better that you did because
I know.
I mean, I would have just found some other way to make it happen because story is story, but still.
Yeah, when we first met his character, I remember, it was really cool. Like, Bill was like, "Oh, this is awesome. I have another wizard, this and that." And then, we go through and we're working together and stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. And then it got to the point where we're in the vault, and I'm like, oh shit, if he knows what I'm trying to get, he'll probably want it for himself.
Oh,
And
Blood knew what you wanted.
You're saying
You-
Eloise should have turned to Veil and asked him if she had
Blood-
to?
no. I'm saying in general, like when I went to go get the book, I remember the Tome of Clear Thought. Like he could have used that. His character definitely could have used it as well.
Mhm.
In this whole game, I remember thinking, from the beginning, I wanted this tome, and I was thinking, like, if he finds out that this is what it is, I don't even know if he knew or not, but that's why I was keeping it a secret. And like once I got it, I kind of like tucked it away real quick because if he took it, then I would have been screwed.
What level were we at that point? We were like, were we around 10? No.
No, you're less than 10. I think you're like 8.
Well, still. All right. Blood, if push came to shove, I was like, I was more than well enough to get an assassinate one shot on him.
I think
Guaranteed.
maybe you were about 12 at that point.
Yeah, I want to say we were at least 11, but
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Guarantee.
I know we were
No, I
a
think
level ahead of them,
'Cause
right?
I probably
yes.
would have
No,
privately messaged
I had to
you.
accelerate them to get to your
Yeah.
level.
Oh, okay.
I probably would have
Yeah.
privately messaged you,
They
Jeremy.
started
I'd be
after
like,
us.
"You want me to do this?" And I was like, "We're getting this book." I was like,
How did he know? Did his character or did him?
"If he had watched our
camp,
campaign, he would have known." But I don't think we ever
No,
brought it
I
up
don't
during
think I'm pretty sure he did not know about what it was until after the fact.
okay.
Yeah, because I don't think we ever brought up what we were looking for in there. We told him we were looking for the roots.
Hmm.
We didn't tell him we were going for anything else special.
Okay.
No, I kept the contents of the vault pretty close to the chest until you got there. You knew that the Tome of Clear Thought was there because that was an item that you had originally asked me for when we started playing, and I was like, okay, I'll put it in there at some point, and if you find it, you find it. And so you did, and so I just kind of like, okay, that's there, but you have no clue what else is there. And so I was just like, okay, tons of money,
That's what I
some
got
legendary items, you
got
got
my
your
bow.
bow, yeah.
Yeah.
Liam still has one fireball bead left.
Ha! Nice.
Swallow
Tell me to swallow it. You're such a jerk.
I
Did I know you mentioned something about the dragon, the sapphire dragon or whatever, but whatever happened with him, like when he found out we stole everything from his vault, he got pissed, flew away. Whatever happened with that? Did you say what happened?
I didn't go into a lot of detail. So after he found out that the vault was robbed, he went on a rampage, as you know, and just started attacking the town.
Yep.
Because in his mind, he's the head of the Thieves Guild. This is where all the thieves are. Chances are one of them first did this. What? I vaguely remember you left like some evidence behind, trying to make it look like somebody else did it.
the bag of devouring.
Yeah.
We left that and made it look like whoever had broken in got sucked into the bag. That they thought it was a bag of holding, and it turns out it wasn't. Because you know what, Willow went into that fucking bag because blood. So that's why we got it. We got Willow out of that bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
You remember
true.
that? Yeah, Willow got sucked into the bag of devouring first, and
I remember
then
3 of us.
then
jumping
they
into a
pulled-
bag.
then they pulled the card.
Mm-hmm.
She pulled the card.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was before that. She just got, she and Blood were vibing that whole time, and then she gets sent. So that's why I was like, yeah. So it's like that's how we set it up. We set the bag up with a bunch of like shit, kind of like just out of reach or a pile of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I remember I went and rolled later about it, and I rolled really freaking low. So he interpreted the whole thing as a bunch of thieves broke in, and yeah, one of them clearly got eaten, but they couldn't have gotten everything. So somebody made off with a ton of his shit, and so he just went on a rampage around
Yeah, baby.
Rowena. He then went and flew off and kind of went to have a little bit of a think about it, as dragons do. They tend to like spend a lot of time thinking before they act, and so he went off to one of his lairs. I kind of like to think that he went off to the mountains around Morag, and was around there, around where Apollyon's tribe lives. But and the thing about that is, like, dragons like to sit and think for a long time, and less than let's see, less
It was
than a
only
month,
a handful
yeah,
of months.
yeah,
It was
less
at
than a
most.
month later, the dreaming tree sprouted and the planet cracked, and so the moment that happened, and he realized Loroupa was open to the multiverse once again, he was just like, well, fuck this shit, and he decided to leave. He has he has much bigger holdings than just Loroupa, and while he had fun running the Thieves Guild, the moment the multiverse was open again, he was like, "Nah, peace out. I've been here for the last 15,000 years. I have no interest in being here any longer." So that's what happened
Yep,
with
that
Arcades.
checks out.
So yeah, that's it. That was it with Arcades. He was here on Loroupa for a little while, but the moment he was freed to the multiverse, he split. So that leaves a very large power vacuum in Rowena and the Thieves Guild and the Margarden Federation as a whole, which is very, very different now. Because it's like half of the mountains around around the Jutla Wastes and what's left of the Federation to the north. So it honestly kind of the country kind of looks like Florida a little bit, oddly enough, and it's just kind of floating out there on dealing with its own shit on the one side, and then on the other side is just a big island desert, and that's where Rowena sits. And so, like, they spend the next 40 years consolidating. I like the idea that Kazik goes back to Rowena to check out his shop, and, or Kozik, or whatever.
Yeah, cozy. Yeah,
Kozik.
I mean, you could say it either way, I suppose.
But anyway, I like the idea that he heads back to Rowena to check on his shop and sees the power vacuum that's going on and kind of contends with it a
Yeah,
little
baby.
bit. I don't know how far that's going to come. I'm going to think about that a little bit. But 40 years later is the next campaigns in Random Rhapsody. So you never know. We might end up getting back to Rowena and seeing what's going on there.
Got himself an elven strike force if he ever needs it.
This is true. This is true.
Well, conglomerate, not just elven.
Exactly. Last question is, I just want to know from everybody who their favorite NPC was that they interacted with. That one that really just stood out to you. I know Blood already said his. We'll come to you in a second. But Apollyon, why don't you go ahead and go first? Koines.
Favorite NPC?
Mm-hmm.
Probably Vulcan. Actually, I thought Vulcan was pretty cool.
Yeah, I had fun with Vulcan. Hey there, Dragonfly! It's just I was always doing just kind of a one octave higher of Foghorn Leghorn.
You want to catch chickens, boy?
Best dad ever.
Yeah, and he's a Goliath, so he's probably still running around kicking at the time period of the next campaign too.
I'm gonna say Vulcan also because of that one moment where Eloise handed the letter that Liam had slipped to her privately that she didn't find for like 4 months in real life or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like Liam ended up like this stuttering like high school kid trying to get the dad to like get his prom date out, like he just like took this whole new approach, and I thought that interaction was my favorite NPC interaction.
Love it. That was fun. I definitely agree.
I also like to say I really liked all the horse voices. Mr. Ed horse voices. Every time Eloise is like, I talk to a horse.
And
I
trees.
was like, well,
Well, Eloise, let's talk a little bit about that. Dude, when I was a little kid, like one of the first shows I ever
Mr.
watched
Ed.
was Mr. Ed. I loved that
I
show.
like apples.
How now, brown cow? Oh yeah, it's
Just put some
you know they
peanut
just
butter
put
under the
peanut butter
lips.
in his mouth, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
Okay, so Joe, you said your favorite was
Oh,
Tomas.
Because, I mean, Tomas was just fun. And I think for Blood, he really struck a chord because it's like, Blood was always interested in that kind of thing. He and his brother were always playing Junior, or, Indiana Jones up in the mountains around there as a kid. And then he wanted to do this research about his people and about Il Mythica, where they really came from. So he was really just kind of, and plus, I mean, Tomas was really kind of a launching point for the campaign for us.
He was pretty
'Cause we
pivotal,
meet
and
him.
he jumped into the other
Yeah.
campaign too. Yeah.
Yeah, we meet him. He ties us into the Conclave. The Conclave becomes our biggest supporters throughout the whole thing. I mean, they keep us out of prison.
Mhm.
They actually, all this, they pay us for shit. They're like, hey, kill whatever you want. Just, give us some of the heads and stuff like. So he was kind of the linchpin for us, really moving through almost the whole campaign. He was always being mentioned, and like I said, yeah, he was there. He was there at the end with the other group.
He was.
He fought in their final. So I mean, yeah, he was super kind of pivotal to everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Liam and Blood lining up the heads for review.
That was so gruesome.
And and he's the hero the hero of Corwin in Curse of Strahd. Like Tomas is like a rock star to him because of the shit he did in the field. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's perfect.
Tomas actually, he died in the battle with the Dreamer. He got disintegrated the same way Veil should have, and the way Corin did during their own Beholder fight. He was resurrected. They cast resurrection on him, or not resurrection, reincarnation. Sorry, they cast They collected all of his dust.
He came back as a human.
He did.
Yeah.
He came back as a human.
Didn't he start out as a rabbit folk?
No,
He was a halfling.
No.
Yeah, he was. No, yeah, he was a
Oh.
halfling.
Tomas was a halfling.
Yeah, Tomas was
Yeah.
Oh,
a
I
halfling.
meant Corin.
Corin.
Yeah,
started
Corn
out
was a rabbit person. Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay. And then he
then-
turned into an elf.
Correct.
min-maxed that shit to get all the. He had like a 42 initiative modifier, some shit like that, because the rabbit got special stuff.
Yeah, the hair and so good.
Yeah, he definitely did have a high initiative for that. The first part of that campaign.
But yeah, no, Tomas. It's got to be Tomas.
That's fair. That's fair. How about you, Alyssa?
It's either Vulcan or it's Vulcan.
As amazing as Vulcan is, fuck Laurel. Fuck Laurel,
Yeah.
my favorite.
Fuck Laurel was great. He got you. He gave you shrooms.
The candy shroom.
You know-
Yes.
How many times did shit happen to Eloise that Blood was the babysitter for?
All the time. All the time.
Not often.
Enough that it happened more than once.
What are you gonna do?
It's true, but I mean,
did
the
How did
dynamic
it
worked.
happen more than once, other than the shrooms? When did something
I'll have
happen?
to look through all of the streams. I guarantee it's there.
There's been a few times that he was like having to shut you up to keep
Well, that
you
was
guys from in
everybody.
trouble.
That was everybody
Oh,
that I
that's
had
true,
to shut
too.
up.
That's
I love tossing the coins and then Apollyon shouting out, "Hey, we're heading to this location next."
Yeah, then
Oh my god, that was such a great moment. That like when Liam's alignment changed because of that. Oh my god, and Kyle, you were so like I don't know, flabbergasted or annoyed because my Eloise's alignment didn't change, even though she also threw coins. I was like, motivation here is very different.
Blood and Veil were hidden in the crowd. I was just like, fuck it, let's go. Leave them behind. It's like they're gonna die. They're gonna die. It's like it's just what's gonna happen. It's like, yeah, that was another thing. I'm having the negotiating down in the bowels of the tavern. That I come back up and you guys
you're in a bar fight
with the fucking guard, the town guard. I was like, God damn it!
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But then that led
Yeah,
to the
never
horses.
even got to use your little Assassin's Creed blade.
No, I mean, we did end up getting another one, but I never got to. I was wanting to get a coup de grace on fucking Golden Tongue, but we never got a chance to.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, like the whole hidden blade thing is cool in Assassin's Creed,
I know,
but it's a
I just wanted
1d4 weapon. It doesn't do the same thing. So we
I wanted to get up close to him though, and
Yeah.
that's what it was going to end up being. It was just going to be that extra personal. It wasn't the damn because I mean
Oh,
you had said is like if you get the right situation, a coup de grace will work.
Yeah, and I
and
absolutely
that's what it
would
was
have done
gonna.
that.
That's what it was gonna be. It was just gonna be that up close and personal thing of he was just gonna like whisper in his ears like I just want you to know it was me, motherfucker, and then just punch him in the back of the throat.
Yeah, and that's why I what I was saying was like just on paper they're kind of useless.
Yeah. Oh,
but,
it's weak.
But if we could figure out a way to do a good scene with it, it would have been awesome. But unfortunately, it never presented itself. Which happens.
Nah, I got to use the special thing for the Kigayumi bow.
Yeah.
On the dragon, and then on that big fucker, and then the what's his name's replacement. We used I think one of the cock
Aku?
poison arrows. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the cock poison arrow, right? That we used on him. That
Oh yeah.
cockatrice poison. I
Yeah,
apologize.
you got some good shots out of that poison.
Yeah, all three of them worked. I know the third one didn't because he was a goddamn fucking hologram.
Yep.
But the other two worked. You have no idea. I was just like, son of a bitch. I just lost that arrow. You know what? That's another bittersweet moment. It's like, God. I was like, the first two shots were beautiful, and then that one just wasted.
Yeah. Oh, that was.
You know
that
when I
was a
thought
good
we
scene.
were actually. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
You know when I thought we were actually all gonna die is when we were going in that mountain, and just like continuously fighting.
Oh, we
fought,
should have. Because we had so many
5 sessions
fights,
in a row
one
without resting.
after another. Yeah, it was back to back to back fights.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Dragon fight at the tower, fight at the base of the mountain, fight inside the mountain, fight at the top of the stairs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I
That was
went
wild.
in with I was like 70 hit points, 70 or 80 hit points down going into that fucking final fight. I was like at half. But actually, I was under half because
I got knocked out.
I got
in
up to
that last battle.
151 with I used tough as my last feat to really boost my thing. But yeah, I was down in like the 70s when I was challenging him to a one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean, I fully admit it. I put you guys through the grindhouse on some of these battles, but I knew exactly how much you could take. Probably a little bit better than y'all did, because there were moments like, holy shit, we're gonna die, and I'm just like confident in the back of my mind, they've got it. They've got it. Sometimes it just takes a little creativity and planning, but you all went through some pretty big fucking battles. Like another grindhouse battle was Bradfordshire, fighting your way
all
up
those fucking-
around the spire into the thing and then down into the crypt. That was
all
a
the
lot.
ghouls, and what were the other?
The
specters
fight
and
with
shit.
the Lamia had the Lamia used like Gaius on anybody but Liam.
In our strategy chat, Kyle is like, well, I got a fucking new character. He was so down. I was like, dude, "You've got an ability." I was like, "You can get out of this shit," and then he didn't fucking believe us.
He didn't want to. He didn't want to believe it because he didn't want to get his hopes up.
He didn't believe us, and we're like, "Dude, look at your fucking character sheet." I was like, "Look what you can do."
I was so confident that was the next level. I'm all like, if I look at it, it's just gonna confirm that I'm about to die.
I think he had gone through quite a bit of whiskey that night, and then he was just drunk at the end. He was just pissed, and he would not listen to me and Jeremy in our chat. But we were like, "Dude, we promise you, this is." Very angry. It was great when you were able to just stand up and just be like, "Ooh," and I was just like, "Yeah, it's my boy." In the next session,
That was a great scene. Okay, we
I
haven't
only
heard.
to find out I had that ability since the boat.
Since the boat, you had it. That's
Yeah, the harpies
Yeah.
charmed me, and I could have undone the charm.
I think it's 7. You got it. Yeah.
6.
Oh, is it
Gotcha.
6? Okay.
7's evasion, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it worked out in the end. Okay, Jeremy, we haven't heard from you yet. Who is your favorite NPC?
I think it'd probably be Mitchell because I remember the first time meeting him and when we went to the when I was buying things from him, we were on like the same page, like shaking his hand with my what the hell is
Mage
it? Mage hand, yeah. And he produced his own mage hand, and we both shook mage hands, and we were kind of going back and forth like that. And it was really cool that we were on the same page with everything. And cut some good deals for some good magic items.
Oh yeah, you got to
back and forth, Eloise and blood with Mitchell. God.
Almost got to kill him. Very close. I almost got to kill a lot of Eloise's people. He's a traitor.
I so want to talk more about Mitchell's future, but I can't because
he pops up later.
He pops up later, but you'll see him before too long.
Now, with our people being the heroes, now I guess did you say you wrote this campaign like you were in high school?
The origins of it, yeah. The origins of the Dreaming Tree story was the first campaign I ever actually sat down and wrote for myself, and I was doing it in high school. I actually still have all the old maps of stuff that I drew out on paper as a kid. But yeah, there's this whole story that I created around a song that I heard it when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved it, and it inspired me to create this whole elaborate story about this thing, the Dreaming Tree, which leads to the dream realm, and where all dreams come together and are collected. And when people go and dream, their consciousness goes away to this other realm, and that's where they have their dreams. So it's the place of dreams and nightmares and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I created this campaign way back when, and I did the story, and we never finished it because, you're in high school and you just don't.
Yeah.
So when I started putting together the story, I'm like, I want to do the story. I've always wanted to finish it. And it's obviously the actual Dreaming Tree story of Campaign 1 is very different than the story that I did when I was in high school. Yeah. But there's still a lot of those same key elements in it.
So were the 5 of us always going to end up being the heroes in the end?
Not necessarily. It was going to be one of the 2 groups. What
we did ended up pushing us towards it.
Well, so it's basically what it boiled down to is who really latched on to the story, who really focused on the cult. Both groups were introduced to the cult almost immediately.
We went full hog, though. Yeah,
your group went full hog on it, and so that allowed me to set up the certain scenes that I wanted. And as the stories progressed, it was pretty clear which direction you're going, and that's when I realized, okay, I can do them as the legendary heroes. I'm going to lead them into the past. So it was always going to be one of the 2 groups. I just didn't know who.
Because I remember in my backstory, I was just like, he is wholeheartedly convinced, and his people are, that a Tabaxi was one of those 5. So did I just happen to guess? I mean, Because I guess I just guessed as like it was hopeful thinking, and then I was
You
like,
made it by happening
and then
by
I was
not
like,
dying.
this motherfucker. I was like, did he do? I was like, this whole time I was like, he didn't fucking do that. Just I was like, there's no way he would have done that just because of what I said. I
No,
was like, that's too much. I was like, you can't. I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, and then I was like, fuck, his hero this whole time has been himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was just like, God, yeah, that is, that's the arrogance of blood, though. Now I can see it happening.
Well, he's kind of worshipped himself the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, in a way, yeah.
But yeah, it all boiled down to what choices people made and what adventures they went on. And the other groups more focused on the zombie side of things and the crystal and kept to the area they did. And so their story developed as it did. And so it just turned out that they could be the heroes in the future who fought the future incarnation of the Dreamer, while your group would go to the past and fight the Dreamer in the past. So it was the consecutive kill at the same time of the past and the future that allowed the Dreamer to actually be destroyed.
Take that, Dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
We
what
won
do you mean the
D&D.
same time?
They fought him in the present while we were fighting him in the past.
Yeah.
It's a being that
That's the
exists
definition
in
of two
multiple
different
times
times.
simultaneously. It's weird.
Well, but see, the thing is, while yes, it was happening in the future and or in the present and the past, when the two groups went into the dream realm is timeless. It's all time, all at once. So you both were basically you fought it and you killed the nightmare child, and some of that aspect was it fleeing and escaping right as the debauchery circus comes in and they kill that.
So we fought Ganondorf, they fought Ganon.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Alright.
Ganondorf.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it. That wraps up this campaign. It's been crazy. There's been highs, there's been lows, there's been a lot of storytelling, and the story that's developed from that is going to be continuing on in the future of Random Rhapsody and the campaigns we continue on with. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and the actions that your group did here has basically changed the story of this series going forward. You are the legendary heroes, and that will never ever change. So, well done, everybody. And that, I think, brings this to a close. So, anybody have anything else they want to reminisce about before we end things?
This is the
Thank
most
you, Matt. Just thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, thank you.
It has been a lot of fun. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. We very much appreciate everybody who tunes in and hangs out with us while we tell these amazing adventures together. And that, as they say, is it for the Faab Five, or at least for the moment. You never know. I love doing one-shots. I'm sure we'll bring this cast back and revisit these characters again and see how they're faring. And you never know, they may pop up in future stories we have. Because, 40 years isn't a long time.
Does Loroupa have a Thanksgiving, Matt?
You could make one.
Honestly, probably after the breaking, yeah, they probably do.
Eloise casts Heroes Feast.
Once a year, everybody gets together and
Yes,
Eloise
the five
casts
of us
Hero Feast.
need to get together,
Well, the
plus
four of us.
Vulcan,
Yeah.
plus Two Rivers, plus anyone
Polly.
else home will come.
Polly's gone.
Yeah, there's always a
Hamas.
place set down for Apollyon and Veil. But they try
Nuh-uh. If they don't show up, she's gonna go get them.
fair.
Drag them back by their ears.
You're probably gonna have to get your hands dirty if you're gonna come find Blood. He's gonna make you join something.
Love
Oh
it.
my god, that's the one shot. You have to whoever plays has to go go help Eloise track down other people and drag them to dinner.
That sounds amazing.
You can get anything you want at Eloise's restaurant.
Eloise is just like in mad dragon mode the entire time, like in her evolved wings mode and stuff like that. Come to dinner!
Eloise doesn't have wings. She has a tail.
Yeah.
No, but in your special like 6th level spell thing, you have that transformation thing.
Oh yeah, but it
Draconic
doesn't give me like
transformation.
physical wings. It gives me.
Spectral wings. Or...
No, but
Yeah.
you have wild shapes. You can make wings.
That's true.
And
Spectral wings are still wings.
when as druids get more powerful, they eventually stop aging. So that's a thing too. It gets crazy.
Same with monks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
No,
Don't
I
worry about
thought with monk you still get older. You just don't
I'll
have
still get
physical
old, but I won't
effects.
physically age,
Yeah.
and like magic can't age me or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're still a human. You'll die. Don't worry about
Eventually.
All right, because you're a lich.
Or
Only
not.
one person here is gonna be a lich, guys. All right, everyone else dies.
it. Blood made me learn a thing or two from Shadows. He didn't start finding that fucking elixir he was drinking to stay young.
Whole nother campaign.
Whole
Find
other
a
thing.
ring of wishes with a wish left in it.
Yeah.
Crack opened up the fountain of youth for blood.
And with that, last scene of Eloise and her Thanksgiving dinners. Thanksgiving is that time when everyone gives thanks for being alive after the breaking. So that's a new holiday now. But yeah, Eloise and her Thanksgiving dinners and dragging her friends home across the planes and dimensions by their ears is a great place to end things for this evening. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for playing. And I just want to say I love you all very much. It's been great. It's been a long one, and I loved every minute of it. So one last time, thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
And with that,
Keep it fabulous, baby.
yeah. And with that, we are going to close things up. So one last time, on behalf of everyone here in the Faab Five and everyone in the Random Rhapsody crew, I just want to say thank you, folks. It's been a delight. So long. Good luck. And until next time, Apollyon.
Keep it fabulous, baby. Peace out.
Good night.
Night.
Peace.